The true story of the three little pigs. 제목 안 읽고 할 수 있겠나 해봐.
The three little
The true story
The true story of the three little
pigs.
pig.
Everybody knows the story of the three little pigs.
Everybody knows the story of the three little pigs.
Or at least they think they do.
Or at least they think they do.
But I'll let you in on a little secret.
But I'll let you in on a little secret.
Nobody knows the real story.
Nobody knows. And
아니. Nobody knows the real story.
the real story.
Because nobody has ever heard my side of the story.
Because nobody has
Ever heard my side of the story?
my side of the story.
My side of the story.
My side of the story.
Okay. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf.
I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf.
You can call me Al.
You can call me Al.
I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong.
I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong.
Maybe it's because of our diet.
Maybe it's because of our diet.
Hey, it's not my fault earths eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs.
Hey, it's not my fault. Wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs.
That's just the way we are.
That's just the way we are.
If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too.
If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too.
But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong.
But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong.
The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar.
The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar.
This is the real story.
This is the real story.
Way back in Once Upon a Time,
Way back in Once Upon a Time.
I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny.
I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny.
I had a terrible sneezing cold.
I had a terrible sneezing cold.
I ran out of sugar.
I ran out of sugar.
So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar.
So I
Walked down the
walked
street.
down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar.
Now this neighbor was a pig.
Now this neighbor was a pig.
And he wasn't too bright either.
And he wasn't too bright either.
He had built his whole house out of straw.
He had built his whole house out of sugar.
No, out of straw.
Out of straw.
짚으로 집을 만들었다. Can you believe it?
Can you believe it?
I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? I mean,
who in his right
mind
would
build.
build a house of straw?
So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in.
So, of course,
knocked on the door.
knocked on the door. It fell right in.
I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house.
I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house.
So I called, little pig, are you in? So I called.
So I called, little pig, are you in?
No answer.
No answer.
I was just about to go home without a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake.
I was just about to go home
Without
the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake.
That's when my nose started to itch.
That's when my mouth started to itch.
I felt a sneeze coming on.
I felt a sneeze coming on.
I huffed and I snapped.
Well, I huffed and I snapped.
And I sneezed a great sneeze.
And I sneezed a great sneeze.
And you know what? That whole damn straw house fell down.
And you know what? That whole
Down.
straw house
Fell down.
Fell down.
Okay. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail.
And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail.
He had been home the whole time.
He had been home the whole time.
It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw. It seemed like
a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw.
So I ate it up.
So I ate it up.
Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there.
Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there.
I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar.
I was feeling a little better,
But
I
still
didn't have my cup of sugar.
So I went to the next neighbor's house.
So I went to the next neighbor's house.
This neighbor was the first little pig's brother.
This neighbor was the first little pig's brother.
He was a little smarter, but not much.
He was a little smaller, but not much.
He had built his house of sticks.
He had built his house of sticks.
I rang the bell on the stick house.
I rang the bell on the stick house.
Nobody answered.
Nobody answered.
I called. Mr. Pig, are you in?
Mr. Pig, are you in?
He yelled back, go away, oof, you can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin.
He yelled back, go away, wolf, you can't come in. I'm shaving
The hairs.
On my chinny chin chin.
Okay. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on.
I had just great
grabbed,
grabbed
붙잡았다.
the door
The,
nail,
the doorknob,
the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on.
I hopped and I snapped.
I hopped and I snapped.
And I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed. A great sneeze.
And I tried to
Cover my mouth.
cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze.
And you're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's.
And you are not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's.
When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig that as a doornail.
When the
Dust,
dust
먼지,
cleared,
cleared.
there was the
기랑아 풀.
풀 저쪽 상자 찾아봐야 된다. 근데 있을 줄 모르겠다. 찾아봐야 된다. 자, there was
the shaving
no. There was the second little pig.
second little pig dead as a doornail.
Ulf's honor.
Honor.
Okay. Now you know. 자, 지금 천천히 갈게요. Now you know.
Now you know
Food will spoil
food will spoil
if you just leave it out.
if you just
Leave it out
leave it out
in the open.
in the open.
So
So
I did the only thing.
I did
The only thing
the only thing
there was to do.
there was to do.
I had dinner again.
I had dinner again.
Think of it as a second helping.
Think of it about 좀
물 좀 마시고. Think of it as a second helping.
think of it as a second little pig.
아니. Second helping.
Second help.
I was getting awfully full,
I was getting awfully full,
but my cold was feeling a little better.
but my cold was feeling a little better.
And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake.
And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake.
So I went to the next house.
So I went to the next house.
This guy was the first and second little pig's brother.
This guy and
Was the
was the first and second little pig's brother.
He must have been the brains of the family.
He must have been the
Brains.
brains of the family.
He had built his house of bricks.
He had built his house of sticks,
Of bricks.
bricks.
I knocked on the brick house.
I knocked on the brick house.
No answer.
No,
I called Mr. Pig. Mr. Pig, are you in?
I called Mr. Pig. Mr. Pig, are you in?
And do you know what the rude little porker answered?
And do you know what that
Rude
rude little
porker.
cooker answered?
Get out of here, Ulf. Don't bother me again.
Get out of here, Wolf. didn't
Don't bother me again.
bother me again.
Okay. Talk about impolite.
Talk about impolite.
He probably
had
had a whole sack full of sugar.
a whole
Sack full of sugar.
full of sugar,
And he wouldn't give me
and he wouldn't give me
even 1 liter cup
even 1 little cup
for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake.
for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake.
What a pig.
What a pig.
I was just about to go home
I was just about to go home
and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake.
and maybe make a nice birthday card
Instead of
instead of a cake.
when I felt my cold coming on.
When I felt
My cold,
my cold coming on,
I huffed and I snuffed.
I huffed and I snuffed,
And I sneezed once again.
and I sneezed once again.
Then the third little pig yelled.
Then the
Third,
little pig yelled,
and your old granny can sit on a pin.
and your old granny can sit on a pin. 끝났는데?
맞지, 여기까지다. 수고했어요.